Welcome to Upfront. I'm Mary Ruth Snyder. Joining me are Pam Crowe and Cindy Xavier. Pam Crowe is the long-serving chair of the Comox Valley Child Development Association Telethon, and Cindy Xavier is the brand new executive director for the entire organization. Welcome to both of you. Now, before we get into the telethon, and yes, there is a telethon Sunday, November 1st, but we'll come back to that. Cindy, how have your first 7 or 8 months been?
Oh, that's a pretty loaded question, Mary Ruth. Well, let's say I think the first word that comes to mind is chaotic, but extraordinarily rewarding. So I was in the position for barely 2 months before COVID hit, and have been a COVID leader since then. But we have a fantastic organization full of passionate, hardworking people, and they have really helped to make my job easier over these past few months.
Now, how about a little bit about yourself? You're new to the Comox Valley. What preceded your work at the Child Development Association?
Oh gosh, how long are we recording for? Well, essentially, I moved to BC almost 2 years ago now. And that impetus was a little grandson. So I wanted to be here, was living in Saskatchewan, and I wanted to be in BC so that I could spend time with my little grandson. And so I had the opportunity to be with him for a number of months before I found my place here in the Comox Valley. And the CVCDA was a great fit for me, fit with my past work experience and education. And it's been a fantastic experience so far.
Now, not to be negative about Saskatchewan, but what's your favorite thing about British Columbia so far?
Favorite thing is the weather. Even though other people may, they go, rain, it rains a lot here. Well, in my opinion, rain isn't snow. And what I really do love about the Comox Valley is that it has a very similar feel to the type of communities that we have in Saskatchewan. So I feel pretty at home here.
Right. Now, when you started, we were not in the middle of a global pandemic. That came along very quickly afterwards. So, when you first started, what was life like at the Child Development Association before COVID for you in the first couple of months?
Well, again, very, very busy. The Comox Valley Child Development Association is a very big agency. There's 16 going on 17 programs, almost 100 staff. We have 2 different locations in Portland. And so, yeah, it's a very, very busy organization. However, what I love about it is that every one of the team members is passionate about the work that they do with the kids and families, and the real reward to this job is just watching the children that come through our doors continue to thrive, and that they can move forward in their life, in a better way than perhaps before they were introduced to us.
What was the one thing that surprised you the most?
About the CVCDA or the Comox Valley?
Both.
Okay. Well, I'll start with the Comox Valley. What surprised me the most was how comfortable and how accepted I feel here. I came for my interview with Pam and a few of the other board members and staff. I spent a couple of days here purposefully because I wanted to see how the community felt for me. And I truly, really fell in love at that moment. And I am really excited every day that I get up and I get to spend time in this beautiful community. With the CVCDA, what maybe was the most unexpected is the level of ongoing commitment that the board members, past and present, executive directors, past and present, have for the organization, that while they may come and go, and as people do, they still remain connected to the agency because they truly have the success of the organization at heart. So we have volunteers such as Pam, who have remained with the organization for not just years, but decades, and remain committed to seeing the success of the organization. That's a rare thing, and something that I truly, truly do appreciate about not just the organization, but the way the community responds to the needs of families.
Now, Pam, let's turn to you for a minute. Cindy referenced your decades of volunteering with the Child Development Association in the Comox Valley. Now, recently, you did finally retire from being the chair of the board after 4+ decades. What was that like for you to finally step away?
Well, it wasn't a decision that I made quickly or lightly, but so I think there was a little bit of sadness, but I feel really strongly that I'm leaving the board in great hands with Diane Daigle, our new board president. I feel so thankful that we have Cindy on board as our new executive director. She's shown extraordinary skill in taking on not only the operations of the association, which are enough, but also dealing with this pandemic and what was required to pivot, if I can use that word, in these extraordinary times. And so, yeah, some sadness, I guess, but it's time, and excitement to see where this new group is going to take the association.
Now, one of the things that you have done, though, is you have maintained your role as chair of the Telethon committee. Why did you choose to hang on to the chair of the Telethon committee?
Oh, you sound like my husband. Well, I get a lot of satisfaction from believe it or not, from what's required to organize it. It was certainly a challenge this year. I think it would have been difficult for someone to take it on this year. It is our 45th, so I guess that certainly has a it's a monumental time, and I'm proud of that. So yeah, it's something I enjoy doing. It's a lot of work, but there's a ton of satisfaction and admiration and pride in how the community comes together, not only with the entertainers, but in the support, in the volunteers that come forward. It's interesting how this year so many people sort of emailed me or stopped me and said, is there going to be a telethon? Is there going to be a telethon? So certainly a lot of entertainers just love having a chance to perform, and especially this year.
Now, we'll come back to the telethon shortly. Cindy, I wanted to go back to what it's been like for you and the staff in the age of a global pandemic. Maybe you could identify for us what some of the challenges have been for you and the staff in still providing the much needed services to the 1,000 children and families that you provide services to.
Thanks, Mary Ruth. Well, I'll tell you, it hasn't been easy, and there's been quite a few sleepless nights. Mm-hmm. And I will say that on behalf of our teams, there's been a few tears shed, because the services we offer to families, our staff are deeply committed and have strong personal relationships with some of the families. They built that over time, and many of our families have been with us, throughout the early years, but then possibly coming back for some of our community programs. And then, of course, our staff that go into schools and daycares and the support that we provide there. So to start with, what I'll say is that the teams came together in an incredible way when we pushed what we call the button on closing down the CVCDA, realizing that the pandemic was out of control, and that in order to protect, our staff and families, that we needed to do what was necessary in that regard, just as many other businesses and organizations did.
Right.
However, what happened in the following days was quite extraordinary. Our teams met ongoing through Zoom. Many people not ever offering services over Zoom calls or remotely. I mean, that wasn't a part of most agencies' experiences, except for, more the high level leadership meetings.
Right.
So they creatively came together to help each other figure out how we were going to offer services remotely for things like infant massage, for things like speech and language, where seeing a child or a family interact and watching a child to see how they're doing over a camera is very different than in person. So I know I could talk for days, and I have many stories, and would love to share that. But really, quite frankly, our teams were exceptional, and then our families were so understanding and so gracious about coming together themselves and accepting the services that we were able to offer over Zoom and eventually in their backyards and things like that.
Right, right. Now, is the Child Development Association in Comox Valley, is it still closed now, and are you still offering the services remotely?
Yes, yes. And actually, well, yes and no. So that's a two-part answer.
Okay.
We have started opening to services in our offices in a very limited capacity, still being very conscious that COVID is still a pandemic, as much as we want to come together and we really want to have the kiddos and the families in our building, and we want to hear their laughter and see their faces, but very conscious that we also, our priority is to keep them safe and to keep family and our staff safe. So we will and are continuing to do remote services. And I believe, and like many agencies, we'll work forward to incorporate remote services into our future services, because there have been those things that we've learned through this pandemic about different ways to offer service that maybe meet some families' needs in a better way.
Right. Now, as you transition through into fall and into winter, where the weather is turning, and you won't be able to be going into people's backyards for fear of being blown away, are you able to expand your scheduling hours to have children come into like the new space that's downstairs? Because you've had that painted and it's bright and beautiful now, and it's just really bright and it's a nice space. Are you able to bring the kids in one at a time for their one-on-one sessions into that space, or over into the Center of Excellence, or?
Yes. So, and currently we are doing that, again, very limited.
Okay.
And I will say families have been very accommodating and very respectful. We have our COVID protocols. So, we request that families have one parent attend. So we reduce the number of adults in the space, wearing masks where there isn't, it's not as easy to social distance. So families have been exceptional that way. We will continue to creatively find space. And in fact, we have our sensory room, which typically is, it has a very specific purpose. Our OH&S committee has taken it upon themselves to, clear out the things in that room that would be, multiple contact places. So to make the, the after cleaning easier, so that we have one more space for to be able to do the therapy with the kids. Yeah, it's a big challenge because the spaces that we actually have for therapy are more limited.
Yeah.
So.
Now, looking ahead to this new era that we are in, and one of the biggest challenges for all organizations that are nonprofit and funded predominantly by the public is we've had to shift away from the normal fundraising activities. And everybody seems to have made the switch over to virtual fairly well. So what are the plans at the CVCDA? I know that the silent auction is live and people can go and bid, and that will be all the way through until on November 1st, the day of the telethon. Do you see yourself doing more virtual events other than just the telethon to keep the money coming in to support all the services that you do?
That's a good question, Mary Ruth. And for the first time ever this year with the telethon, we are doing a 50-50 draw, which will occur shortly. We've got the silent auction up now, so we want to create some excitement around that before we move forward with another fundraise piece of the fundraiser. And certainly we'll look at options as we go, because as we know, this year is a very different year, as you pointed out, for people that are doing fundraising and rely on that fundraising for the continuation of services and programs. The reality is that, well, agencies may receive some funding from the government to run programs. It's never the full meal deal. We're always looking for funds to be able to complement and enhance services. And of course, one of the things that's really become apparent throughout the pandemic is that our human resources are far more limited than we'd like them to be. So as an agency that's always having an increased wait list, we also have to figure out how we're going to work to meet that need. So these fundraisers are really important to organizations such as the CVCDA. And it's incredible how the businesses and community have responded, even during such tough times like this pandemic.
Right. Now, Pam, in your preparation for launching this year's telethon, normally you have a great big massive basket that gets showcased at like the Scotiabank and various locations throughout town. You're not doing that this year? How are you transitioning with all of the variety of things that you normally have with the telethon?
Yeah, thanks. We have had our traveling basket, as you call it, and it has generally raised us, $5,000, $4,000, $5,000. So actually, that is where the 50-50 draw comes in, because we, of course, couldn't go out and sell tickets for the raffle basket. So we have contacted people who have always donated to our raffle basket. And we have asked them if they would donate again, though their items have gone into the silent auction, and which is up and running and online now at CVCDA.ca. It's very exciting. And I have to give a shout out to Brooklyn at the association. She's worked really hard to get that up online. And then the 50-50 draw, we're hoping will be something new, which is always exciting. A lot easier to carry around, I have to say. It's not anywhere near as hard. And so, yeah, we are trying to adjust, just as we are with the telethon this year, and having our entertainers pre-record their acts. And we have a huge shout out to Patrick Emery and the Sid Williams Theatre staff for just really coming on board with us and being so positive about, yes, we can do this. I think there was a real thought, how can we do this? But yes, we're going to give it a try. And was even thinking yesterday when I was, doing some work, if when we pull this off, I think we're going to be pretty proud of ourselves and this community.
Yes, and I do, just to make sure that everybody in the community is aware. So Sunday, November 1st, and it starts at noon, as it always does, and it will go for the full 8 hours.
Yeah.
Noon till 8. There is still a jam-packed show planned. The host will be coming to you live from the Sid Williams Theater stage, and
Right.
anything can happen with the host that you have. And and the telephone tables will be there. Now, explain how you're approaching the telephone tables this year and how many there will be.
So as always, we're trying to be able to do as much as we can, as we always have, but in considering COVID protocols. So we will have 4 organizations represented. So 4 people at the tables. There'll be socially distant tables with plexiglass in between the people. And people call in on the day to 334-9200 and make their donation or their pledge. And that part we are hoping to keep the same, and we're hoping to keep those phones ringing during the day. Yeah. Great. Unfortunately, people won't be able to walk in to the theater and see the wonderful entertainment, but they can certainly see it online. And we've got some great acts that are sending in their videos, and others that are going to be going to the theater to pre-record. And yeah, it's going to be a whole new experience for us.
Now, people can watch it online at the CVCDA, and they can watch it on Channel 4, correct? Through Shaw, just like in past years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and my tech guys as well. They usually put up a website for it? Okay, great. So there's lots and lots of places for people to be able to watch and to be engaged. And and on Blue Curve, it's also on channel 105 on Shaw Blue Curve if you have that level. Now, in addition, social media has become a real thing. So Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, so they are able to follow. I know that Brooklyn is going to be posting things throughout the day. People can, be sending us pictures of themselves watching from home and their big bowl of popcorn and glass of hot chocolate or whatever it is their favorite bevy might be. Now, Pam, what would you like to say to the residents of Comox Valley and beyond of why this year is so important?
Well, every year has been important. The telethon is not something we do, although it is fun. We don't just do it for fun. The funds we raise are required for us to continue operations, not only to put the heat on, but to meet the ever increasing needs of the children at the association. These are critical funds that we require. We certainly need the community's help more than ever for all the reasons that Cindy has mentioned, all the challenges. But certainly the needs are continuing to increase, and the Child Development Association wants to be there to meet those needs. And so the only way we can do that in the manner that I think the community has become accustomed is for us to just get out there and ask once again, please give, do what you can. That's all we can ask, right?
Cindy, this will be your first telethon. What are you most looking forward to?
Thanks, Mary Ruth. Well, my first telethon in the Comox Valley. So this is a new experience here in BC, not a new experience from Saskatchewan. What I most look forward to and what I really love about doing this kind of work is connecting with our community, is being able to go out there and say, hey, we really need your help again this year. And what's extraordinary about this year, I think above all years, and as Pam said, each year it's important. Each year we need the community's assistance. And this year we are saying now more than ever, we need their help. But we also know that now more than ever, some of our businesses are struggling. And so we just only ask to give what you can. And what we're seeing is incredible response to, you know, our committee going out into the community and asking for donations. So once again, as the community has done for 44 previous years for the CVCDA, they are stepping up in whatever way they can, because they see the work that's been done, that's being done now, and the work that's been done in the past as important.
Pam, I'm going to give you the last word.
I've always said that the community gives what it can, and we can only ask for that. I did want to mention too that there is a donate button if you go to our website, and you can donate through Canada Helps. So on the day, or today or tomorrow, if you want to donate, you can just go straight to the donate button and donate through Canada Helps. It's secure. And just so everyone realizes that you don't have to wait till November the 1st to donate, or you can wait till November the 5th if you're not around. But no, we just always have so appreciated the support of the businesses and the entertainers and the volunteers that come out and help, and we can only just say thank you so much for this year too.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for your time. Cindy Xavier is the new Executive Director for the Comox Valley Child Development Association, and this will be her first telethon in the Valley. So let's show her how it's done. And Pam Crowe, thank you so much for all of your time, and good luck with the telethon. It's gearing up to be a fabulous day. Please join us on Sunday, November 1st from noon until 8 p.m., streaming live from the Sid Williams Theatre on the CVCDA.ca website, as well as Shaw Channel Local 4 and on Blue Curve Channel 105. You've been watching Up Front. We will see you again.